The License Committee to order at 6 p.m. Beside me is Councilor Waterman and Councilor Holmes. From the docket of December 16, 2025, I entertain a motion to approve the following Class 2 licenses. M&J Auto Sales, Inc. at 650 Washington Street, 10 customer spaces, 49 display spaces. Blue and White Motors, Inc. at 1815 County Street, 4 customer spaces, 15 display spaces. Courtesy Auto Group, Inc., doing business as Courtesy Kia Mitsubishi, 11 and 16 Scott Street, 34 customer and 172 display spaces. Automazed at 826 Washington Street, 13 customer spaces and 80 display spaces. 100% Auto Wholesaler LP, 21 Washington Street, 10 customer and 48 display spaces.
Second.
Thank you. Motion in order.
Point of order, you need to add 97 Emery to that in the event that there's someone looking to pull it out.
So on mine, I have it as like a.
So you'll read
Still
it as
reading
is, because it hasn't been amended in committee yet, so it still has to be read into that.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Councilor Owens, would you withdraw your
Yes.
second? Thank you. From the docket of December 16th, 2025, entertain a motion to approve the following Class 2 licenses. 97 Emery Street LLC at 97 Emery Street, 7 customer spaces, 30 display spaces.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. So for these, for the most part, I have no issues with any of these. The only two that I will point out are M&J Auto Sales, Inc. and 100% Auto Wholesalers. 100% Auto Wholesalers is doing much better this year than last year when I took this committee on. There was one issue this year to which the car was outside the lemon law, and they still sent over $1,000 in parts to that customer. So we were happy with that. Regarding M&J Auto Sales, Inc., there was one complaint on this dealer regarding a vehicle. They did fully refund the cost of that vehicle and take the car back. If you recall, a gentleman then came in and spoke regarding this dealership, which I did look into. And so the current owner is the nephew of the previous owner, to which we revoked a license from. I did go into this dealer and ask questions. He did tell me there was no affiliation, at which point I contacted the Secretary of State's office and found out he had a business in Northern Mass, reached out to them, and they told me that they were related. So that was how I figured that out, and the uncle owns the shop in Pawtucket. With that being said, that does not give us any kind of authority under the statute of the law to remove their license. And being that there's no other complaints, and the only complaint that we received they handled, in regards to how the law lays it, there's nothing that we can do here. So that is why I'm taking this out tonight. Though I don't like being lied to my face, I have to follow the law, as do we all. So that's why that is getting voted out.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? Vice President Dolan.
Thank you. So I would like to recommend that we take 97 Emery Street and do it as a second motion, please, if you would be
Absolutely.
kind enough to do that.
So the way you can do that is make an amendment. If your committee's in favor, they can do it.
Perfect. So I would make an amendment to have 97 Emery Street LLC as a second motion.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes, so we will have that as a second motion. Going back to the main motion, is there any other questions, comments, concerns? Councilor Angela.
Thanks, Councilor Lavoy. Just a comment. I want to say you've done a great job with this committee, and I think people should feel pretty good about a lot of the work that you've done and giving them a voice to be able to go back and stuff. So I want to commend you for your efforts and everything that you've done and stuff, and I appreciate everything. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And so then we'll go on to the 97 Emery Street motion. So from the docket of December 16th, 2025, I entertain a motion to approve the following Class 2 license renewal application. 97 Emery Street LLC at 97 Emery Street, 7 customer spaces and 30 display spaces.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. So I didn't comment on this one previously just because I did know the intention of separating these motions. So, as you recall, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, I talked about the dog issues there. That's really the only complaints that I've gotten pertaining to this dealership. I did look into it a little more as Vice President Dolan had asked me to do so. The count has been really up and down. It was high when I was there the last time. And then regarding the dog, it hasn't been on property when I've been there, but I have received emails and I've received videos of the dog being there on separate dates. So it really just depends when the owner brings the dog in. But with that, I'll obviously open the floor to comments and questions, comments, concerns. Councilor Angelo.
I can tell you, I personally saw the dog there Sunday, not causing any problems, and I got no issues with dogs, as everybody knows. My only concern about the dog is dog being treated fairly, is hopefully the dog has got a place, he's not being kept there the whole time. That's all. That's my only comment.
Given that I haven't seen the dog there the couple times I've been there, and I've gone during business hours, and I don't know if the dog typically isn't there, maybe certain hours where they think the employee that got bit might be there. I don't know. But given that I haven't seen it there during certain hours, I can't speak to that they would have it there long term. From what I was told, that was the reason behind the guard dog license. Not that it was actually going to be a guard dog, but that he wanted the dog there 24/7. So I can't speak to the validity of that, but yeah. Vice President Dolan.
Thank you. I hope the dog isn't there all the time, in the cold and such. I agree with that. My concern also is the dog biting people, which it's done twice. But also my concern is I feel like, and I agree that you have done a good job with licensing, and it has nothing to do with you. I feel like they've been kind of thumbing their nose at us. I think they've been thumbing their nose at us with the dog and with the count. Like sometimes, because I drive by there several times a day, and I don't even know how they arrange the cars. There's so many, and then all the cars parking on the grass, which I told them when I had licensing. I don't even remember what year that was, but and they're still doing it. So I would like them to come before us and explain, what the deal is with the dog, and I feel like, once you walk out, they're like loading back up. I mean, because when I did licenses, they did the same thing. I'd see guys from one dealership driving cars off the lot to the next dealership, because they know I'm there, because they're calling each other. So that bothers me. So I wanted this separated out because I'm gonna vote no on this license. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I don't disagree with you. I take strong distaste to dealers that I think are trying to be, secretive and play games. And I think the whole process regarding the dog was a bit of an issue where we didn't get responses for the public hearing and things of that nature. And the dog being on the property in general, whether it bit a state employee, city employee or not, I think is a concern. No matter who gets bit, God forbid it be a child. So I don't disagree with you, and I don't disagree with the fact that they would maybe come before this body. So I'll leave my comments with that. But I will vote it out of committee, obviously, to get it to the floor, and then go from there. Councilor Holmes.
Thank you. So if there was a no vote, then that would halt their license immediately, and then what would be the process to, I guess?
I would defer to President Delacio.
Yeah, so thank you for that, and thank you for that question. I was gonna bring that up. Two things to keep in mind. One, this body can pull them down at any time. At any time, we can pull them down. Secondly, it's important to note that if we're going to revoke somebody's license, we have to have legal standing to do so, because then we'd have to work with the solicitor, provide a decision as to why we did that. If not, we could be liable. We've seen this before. I want to say it was about 3 or 4 years ago we saw this. So we've got to be careful that if we're voting no, we have concrete reasons as to why we're saying no, especially where we are, to your point, Councilor Holmes. I mean, we got 2 weeks left, a week left in the year. Vote your conscience, as I always say, but what I would just keep in mind, we can bring them down at any time.
Thank you, President Delacio. So in a response as well as, yeah, I think, generally speaking, it's tough. Obviously, I'm not returning. I think my recommendation would be to get it out of committee, get them into the new year, and then whomever takes over the committee at that point, I would say that priority one, a current counselor, like yourself, could recommend to them to look into it, to call them before us. You can call for a public meeting and call them in. They don't have to attend, but then that you can start opening a case against them. Typically, when I have any kind of credible complaint that comes in before me, the first two calls I do are Secretary of State and the Attorney General's office. I try to see if the owners have anything on their records immediately that would alarm me, that can kind of start getting a paper trail going, because you have to have a very good case when you're taking away someone's livelihood, and the state doesn't play with that lightly. And whenever I talk to the Attorney General's office, they say the same thing. Even on their end, it's when they're trying to take away a license or tell the city to revoke one, they need a good paper trail, because there's so much that a business owner could do in court, because you're violating their right to a business, and you have to have good grounds to do so. So that's how I would leave it as. I would take, if you're asking me, I would vote it out, and then that would be my priority one in the new year, is maybe get them down and figure out the status with the dog, and then go from there. It's tough when a lot of these dealers come in. Obviously, we had a cyber attack, but a lot of these dealerships come in right at the end of the year to begin with, and then to go to the auctions, they have to have their 26 license. So that's part of the problem, is they're already wanting this approved immediately, but they're filing in December. So, Councilor Sawyer.
I just had a question specifically about the dog and the safety of, sure, I'm for dogs too. I'm definitely for animal care, and I wonder, you sometimes get animal control involved, even just for a personal dog, and if they've bitten somebody. Like, I don't know what the legal standing is for that, since the dog has bitten somebody twice, by Vice President Dolan's remarks. And so I don't know what that means for legal and safety for them as a business, not just, that also has something to do with their license as well. So I didn't know if there's any more that you had found out about that legally with their dogs there, and that they've been bitten by other people.
So in regards to the license, there's not much in terms of the dog to the license that we can do. The city can do, as they see fit with the dog based upon the hearings. What I will say was the initial bite was a state employee through the inspections office delivering inspection stickers. They went to the hospital, contacted the ACO. ACO came out and was also bit. So the second bite was a city employee who was an animal control officer. So I can't comment to where they're at in their hearings and where, Derek, or if it gets to the point where it becomes Chief Agnew at that point. I can't speak to where they're at because it doesn't involve the legality of the license, but I'm thoroughly sure they're investigating it and having their process, because, like I said, one of the animal control officers was bit. Councilor Angela.
Yeah, so it's been a while since this bite anyways, right? So this isn't something that just happened, so.
I don't recall when maybe April or something to
so
that nature. I think it was earlier, maybe
So
spring
that's a
of
while
this
ago,
year.
so we probably should focus on legalities and not the dog, and, animal control handles that, and let's not worry about that, in my opinion, and let's go forward with, is he in compliance and everything else?
Correct, yeah. So, like I said, when I spoke to the state, there was not a whole lot we could do in regards with the dog. So I think next year, or whether it gets denied tonight, the focus needs to be on why their count's up and down and why they can't stay consistent maybe, but it's tough to just focus on the dog, because there's really nothing there. Unfortunately, I don't agree with the dog being there given the track record, but there's nothing there. So unfortunately. Councilor Ford, did you still have a question or comment?
I'm not sure that I do. Did I understand from what you said that this license expires at the end of December?
Correct, yes. So the licenses expire at the end of December. These are for their new licenses for 26. However, the auction yards don't typically take them in if they're not going to have a 26 license. I don't know why, but that's why Virginia really gets hounded on a lot of these, because they want to get to the auction to get more cards, and they can if they're not approved. Councilor Tavares.
So is it accurate to say at this point that they're not keeping within the limit of customer spaces and display spaces, or they
So
are?
the customer spaces hasn't been an issue. The display spaces, when I say they're over an account, they're above their display number. Realistically, what they would do as a dealer, if they claim they have the room for it, they need to go to the clerk's office and resubmit a new site plan showing how they have additional spaces, whether that's paving, getting approval to pave a grassed area or whatnot. But these space numbers don't change. They're not paying by the space. They just have to prove that they have the capacity to do so. So if they want to change their numbers, they could submit it. So realistically, you could call them down next year and tell them they're over their count. If they can prove to the clerk's office and to this body that they have the capacity to upgrade their number, then they can do so. It would go before a public hearing, but they could do that. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Absolutely.
Thanks. So have they been consistently over time over the customer space limit? Is that? I'm just trying to aggregate, I think, what I heard earlier from you and from Councilor Dolan, just trying to understand the history here. Is that a fair statement or no?
So I can, Vice President Dolan has told me that they were above the count in the past. Councilor Waterman could speak to under his tenure. Under mine, they were fine last year. This year, they've been up and down. So usually if I go there and they're a couple up, I'll go back. And then I see where they're at. So I went earlier in I think May, and they were fine. And then I went again in the summer, right after the dog, everything kind of subsided. They were up 10, and then I went back, they were up 2. And then Councilor Dolan had told me when this came in, she was like, please double check this one. So I went back out, and then they were fine again. And then I've went 3 times this fall because I was really trying to see if the dog was there. And because the dog was there earlier this year for those times, just as a clarity. But they were up 2 of 3 counts in the fall. Not dramatically. I want to say 7 and 4. And it's tough because it's not like the vehicles aren't parked out on the city streets or anything like that. As Vice President Dolan alluded to, there's a grassy area that they put vehicles onto. Whether they're moving cars on and off the property, that could be a problem if they're hiding cars. Typically, I try to get in there pretty quick and start counting. I don't speak to anyone. I just go in and start counting. And then usually they come right out and wonder what you're doing. And so I don't know that they're hiding cars and I've been there, but yeah, it's been up a few. It's not been drastically high. I would say the most ever has been 10, but yeah. Councilor Angel.
I apologize, President Delisha, if this is kind of off topic, but
It's his meeting, not mine.
you just said something about people curious of when you're out there and stuff. Should there be almost some type of badge or a vest or anything when you're out there to ease everybody's mind and not cause you any issues too as well in your experience over the last 2 years?
Funny you ask, I guess. We got the time. No, but so my great Pepe was a city councilor. Ironically, I had no idea when I ran. He used to get a badge for the city of Central Falls. And I don't know if we need one. Maybe. I thought at least an ID card or something of that nature. Usually I just have business cards on me. I typically try to dress down and then I just go in and start counting. But they usually come out pretty quick because why are you just kind of looking at all our vehicles? Maybe they think I'm up to no good. I don't know. But I usually just hand them a business card, tell them who I am and what I'm doing. And sometimes they try to talk to me and distract me, but I'll talk and walk, and multitask. So
Okay.
not a bad point though. I do think for at least for the committees that are out in the community doing more engagement than most committees do. This committee especially is really involved in every dealership in the city is visited by me if I'm doing my job correctly. So yeah, I do think at times it would be helpful as opposed to just a business card that I could print from Vistaprint. But either way, I had a pleasure doing it and would do it again in a heartbeat, with or without a badge or an ID card.
We look forward to it in 2 years.
Counselor DeVaris.
Sorry, the last question, but I'm just trying to think of the potential downsides if we don't vote this out before the end of the year and we do ask them to come before the council, because obviously if we do and we don't renew this license, then that gives them more motivation to show up if there are outstanding questions. And I'm just trying to think of on their side, would the downside just be their ability to you mentioned earlier their ability to buy cars at auctions, things like that. Is there any other that you're aware of material harm to them potentially if we do delay this until the beginning of the year?
I mean, unless you got them to come and meet here on New Year's Day, you would be withholding their right to sell in Attleboro, because they're not going to be licensed to sell cars in Attleboro under the city's guidelines. So I think future reference, maybe if you can change it to give them a temporary license, maybe that's something to look into for future reference, but I'm not sure that exists, at least at the moment. So, maybe if that was the case, you'd give them one to the end of January so they could operate, and then you have them come before you. But I think it's just as easy to revoke it as it is to deny it, in my mindset. Others might disagree, but I think either way, you have to have the same guideline. You have to have the same case built up. So I think you're going to draw bigger backlash by telling them no, not allowing them to conduct business. If you're proven to be negligent in doing that, then they're going to come after the city for lost revenue. In my mindset, as a business owner, that's what I would do. If you told me I can't operate in your city, you don't have the proper guidelines to do so, and I lose revenue because of it, and I'm sure you agree as a business owner, potentially, maybe, but, I'm going to want compensation for that if I'm wronged and done so wrongfully. Vice President Dolan.
Thank you. So I disagree with that, because having a license in the city is a privilege, it's not a right. And this is different than revocation. If hypothetically, if we don't approve it, whatever the case may be, and I'm not, I feel like they've been thumbing their nose at us, and I'm not advocating you all to vote no. Y'all do whatever you want or whatever. I just feel like, again, this is different than a revocation, and I feel like they've been consistently over, because like I said, I go by there 1,000 times a day, and it's like packed like sardines, and I feel like they've kind of ignored your requests while you were there. So I don't agree that it's the same as a revocation, because again, it's a privilege to have a license in the city that we honor to these people, and there are rules that they need to abide by. So that concludes my comments. Thank you.
I agree for the most part. The only thing I would say was, it certainly is a privilege, but it also is a right, as the state outlined. So yes, we do have, they have the privilege to do business here, but the state also gives them the platform of why they should be able to and why they shouldn't be able to. And we have to make sure we abide by those two. So there is a fine line of privilege and right, and there's somewhere in the middle we have to fall with them. But I wholeheartedly agree with you every bit otherwise. Councilor Fall.
Can you tell us, please, when did they submit their application for renewal?
That I don't have in front of me, just because I don't get all the dates for those. They were one of the first ones in, because I specifically held it all the way to the end, solely because Vice President Dolan was concerned about it, and I didn't want to just pass it through and not, out of respect for her, not check into it, and the city, not check into it a bit more. So I want to say, like, when the first batch started coming in, they were probably one of the first 5 in.
Thank you.
Yep. Anyone else? Questions, comments? President Delicio.
This is bananas right now. Like, we're talking about everything from badges to vests to dogs to we think they're over, we don't think they're over. I don't doubt you for a second. I know you're a man of your word. You went and checked them out. This is about, do we feel comfortable allowing this business with, let's just say, 10 days left in the year to be able to run their business or not? We have the oversight, we have the authority to pull them down at any time. If these questions arise, we knew that it was coming in. We knew it was coming down. To wait 10 years, it puts the business in an unfair position, regardless how anyone feels, whether you're in favor of it or you're against it. But I think at this point, you know, like, we should talk about why it is that we're in favor of this license or not in favor of the license. I think a lot of the other conversation it's kind of non-germane. Thank you.
I definitely don't disagree. I think I told my wife this would be 30 minutes long, and this committee alone is 24 minutes in. Yeah, I agree. That's why my recommendation, and I stick to it, is vote them all out, and then whoever takes the committee, and you as counselors stay on that person, and make sure that you kind of have your targets you really want to focus on for dealerships. We've seen a great progress in 100% in state line over the 2 years, which is great. And I think that gives us a bit of latitude to start looking into other dealers like 97 Emory Street or any other dealers that maybe you get calls and complaints for. But, you know, maybe it's something to think of when it's early in the year. We don't have a ton of new business coming in right away in a new term. Bring them in, shake up the city a little, get it excited down here, bring everybody in, maybe invite the gentleman, the gentleman from the state in if you'd like regarding the dog, or invite Derek down to speak on the dog status if that's a pressing matter. But, you know, I don't see anything to hold it up tonight. And I think, you know, the new body will be fully capable of taking it on in the new year. Thank you. Council
I
Watt.
just want to say I agree with you. That's the assessment that I would have done. But this is an issue that should probably be our number one issue as we go into the new year.
Absolutely. Thank you. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. That should be all of them, but I'll double check. With that, I would call for an adjournment.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned at 6:26.
I call Human Resources Veterans Committee to order at 6:27. Council is available. Council's Waterman. Council Tavares and Council Waterman. All right, sorry, just a scribbler's error here. All right, from the docket of December 16th, 2025, I entertain a motion to call for a public meeting on February 3rd, 2026 to discuss the appropriation of $100,000 from account 1000-359-000 undesignated fund balance free cash general government to account 11241-000-530-150 citywide special event.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Tavares. Just basically, let's get the public down here. This is going to be a pretty big event. It's 250 years, and I think we all kind of would like to have the public's opinion on this and just see how they feel about it. It's going to be a move to the high school. There's going to be a lot going on, and we can talk a lot more about it when the time comes. And we'll let the public tell us what they think. All right. All those in favor? Or any questions, comments, concerns? Sorry.
No, I agree with you.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. That's all for Human Resources Veterans Committee. I call for adjournment at 6:28.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Tavares. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. We are adjourned.
I'd like to call this special meeting of the Municipal Council to order at 6:28. Please rise and join me for the salute to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. See, Assistant Clerk, would you mind reading the notice of special meeting, please?
Sure. Councilors, by authority of Article 2, Section 2-7C of the Attleboro Home Rule Charter, I hereby call a special meeting of the Municipal Council as follows. December 22nd, 2025, 6 p.m., Council Chambers, City Hall, 77 Park Street, to address any outstanding license issues and any time-sensitive matters in front of the Municipal Council. Sincerely, James J. Delisio, President.
Thank you. I would entertain a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Thank you. All motion is in order. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. We're operating under suspended rules because we only have a handful of pieces of business tonight. There will be no public hearings. There will be no committee of the whole. There will be no new business. There will be no mayor's communication, no clerk's communication. We have License Committee report, Human Resources report, and then a Finance old business. So, it's a lot, but we're here. All right, so Councilor Lavoy, haven't heard from you in a while.
Thank you. Reporting for the License Committee from the docket of December 16th, 2025, I entertain a motion to approve the following Class 2 licenses. M&J Auto Sales, Inc., 650 Washington Street, 10 customer,
You
49
can just
square.
read the name and the address, you just read
Perfect.
it all.
Blue and White Motors, Inc., 1815 County Street, Courtesy Auto Group, Inc., doing business as Courtesy, Kia, Mitsubishi, 11 and 16 Scott Street, Auto Mazed at 826 Washington Street, 100% Auto Wholesaler LP at 21 Washington Street.
Second.
Thank you, motion is in order, any comments?
I think saying we discussed this in committee would be an understatement. No further comments.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, this is a voice vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
From the docket of December 16th, 2025, I entertain a motion to approve the following Class 2 license renewal applications. 97 Emery Street LLC at 97 Emery Street.
Second.
Thank you, motion is in order. Any comments?
No, I would just like to thank everyone for coming out tonight to get these out. Very important, and with everything going on, it's great that we can get these out, and even better that you can all be here to help us get out this year, finish strong. Thank you.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Vice President Dolan.
So, I'll reluctantly vote in favor of this, but, I mean, I'm sure they're not watching or whatever, but they need to be a priority next term. So whoever has licensing next term needs to make this a priority, and I really want them to come before us. Because when I did licenses, I didn't give people a hard time when they had a couple cars over. But this area is very small, very compact, very packed with vehicles. So I'll reluctantly vote in favor of it just because it's December 22nd, but I won't do it again. Thank you.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Vice President Dolan, I agree with your comments and your sentiments, and I think the one thing I would add is it's also in a very residential area as well, so. All right, that being said, this will be a voice vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
That concludes the business for the License Committee. I call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
All right, thank you. Mr. Angelo.
Thank you, President Delicio. Reporting for Human Resources and Veterans Committee from the docket of December 16, 2025. I move to call for a public meeting on February 3rd, 2026 to discuss the appropriation of $100,000 from undesignated fund balance free cash, general government to citywide special event.
Second.
Thank you, motion is in order. Any comments?
No, sir, we just discussed in committee.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, this will be a voice vote, not a roll call vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
That's all for Human Resources and Veterans Committee. Call for meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. Councilor Tavares.
Thank you. So reporting for the Finance Committee on old business, there was a scrivener's error on vote number 4 from Tuesday, November 25th, 2025. Voted 9 yeas, 0 nays, FOA COBUS absent to authorize school department to pay an FY25 invoice to Flowbird America Inc. for $140. No transfer is needed. That should have read voted 9 yeas, 0 nays, FOA COBUS absent to authorize budget and administration to pay FY25 invoice to Flowbird America Inc. for $140. No transfers needed.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
No comments.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, this will be a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
There was a scrivener's error on vote number 22 from Tuesday, December 16th, 2025. Voted 11 yeas, 0 nays to authorize the Budget and Administration Office to pay FY25 bills to American Tire Distributors and B&R E-Rate Consulting Services for $11,126.50. That should have read voted 11 yeas, 0 nays to authorize the School Department Office to pay FY25 bills to American Tire Distributors and B&R E-Rate Consulting Services for $11,126.50.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
No comments.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, this too is a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
That concludes the old business.
I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor? Motion in order. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Happy holidays.
Hey, happy holidays, everybody.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.